Well, the music is playing and they're pointing at me from the control room, so I'm having a little panic attack. We are doing a completely unplanned, unscripted episode of the Bullpen. Now, if you're new to Disclosure, the Bullpen is something we do roughly once a month. It's guys only in the studio to weigh in on faith and family and culture and, well, whatever they want to weigh in on, as long as I get the final word. You guys are already laughing at me about having the final word. I'm going to get the final word. It's my show. It's my show.
It's my sandbox.
It's my sandbox.
At the very end, we'll hit it with
It's your own show.
Yeah. But this is completely unscripted. We have nothing in front of us, not even discussion, bullet points, nothing. And we were actually in studio waiting for a guest to arrive, and there was a storm, and they're being delayed, and we said, let's throw together a bullpen. So, in studio today, I've got Doug Bruce, producer of
Discovery Mountain.
Yep. And director. You're director Doug.
That's correct, Director Doug.
And what does the talent say to you as you bark commands at them?
Oh, they ignore me or...
Direct me.
Direct me, Director Doug. Yeah, there's a certain Boonstra that likes saying, well, direct me, Director Doug. So
Kyle,
we generally shut off her mic and replace her character.
That makes sense. Kyle Warren.
Howdy.
Work here at Voice of Prophecy. Got hauled in. And you don't know this yet, but really the topic today is the mind of Kyle Warren. And
It's going to be a short show.
lots of echoing.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Is anybody
There is
home?
a nothing box in there,
Home?
which we talked about last time.
The nothing box. Have we talked about the nothing box?
Yeah.
All right. The nothing box, of course, is where men go. There's a famous comedian that does that bit, doesn't he? The nothing box. Like, women want to know, what are you thinking about?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And they don't believe us. They don't. No, you must be thinking about something. No. That's why we do things like go fishing, or things, and we have a dial tone in our heads the whole time.
Yeah,
Now,
it's just
if
white
you're under
noise.
the age of 30, a dial tone is what you used to hear when you picked up the telephone. It was on the line to let you know that it was available for a phone call. In the last show that I did earlier this morning, there's a video going around. Have you guys seen this of the millennials that are given a dial phone?
Oh, and they're
I
trying to
saw
dial.
that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the 14-year-olds.
Yeah, and they're trying to
Yeah.
figure out how it works.
And they're giving them a time period. You got like 7 minutes to figure out how this works, and they just barely make it.
Yeah, and what's hilarious, they dial a number, and if they make a mistake, the receiver's in the cradle the whole time. And if they make a mistake, they pick it up and reset it. They click it back down, and they pick it. There you go, millennials. You laugh at me and my technical abilities. I laugh at you and your pulse
You
dialing.
can't even work out a dial telephone.
Can't dial telephone. I want one in my house now. All right.
I have one at the cottage.
You have a...
We have a dial
Wait a minute. You
phone
have a
at the-
cottage?
we have a cottage.
Yeah, that's...
And how many
that
of
must
us
be
have ever
nice.
been invited?
How many of you live anywhere near me?
Well,
have a
we would
cottage?
come. You have a
Okay,
cottage.
actually,
Still, the invitation
Okay,
is
here's an
nice.
open.
If you would like to use Doug's cottage for free, write us a letter at
It's
Box
on-
999,
It's on Shandus Lake in Ontario.
Shandus Lake in Ontario.
That sounds like a...
But it's free for anyone who writes in, right?
I have to ask my wife. Hang on.
This is the bullpen. Doug.
I'm sorry.
We don't ask our wives. So Kyle works in the creative department here at the Voice of Prophecy. You do a lot of the beautiful things that people see.
I hope they're beautiful.
Well, some of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One or two.
We put gold stars on everything, though, because we're trying to encourage you.
That's and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The rewards are making it worth it. The peanuts.
The odd bag of trail mix.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't. We throw stuff over your wall
Trail
into
mix.
your office. Ruben Gomez, the voice of Jake Donovan. You'll always be. You're actually the producer of this show. You're the media director at the Voice of Prophecy. And did you pick our topic for today?
I didn't, but I think it's a great one.
There we go. It's men in entertainment. We're going to, and it's completely unscripted. We've got no notes in front of us. But let's talk about men and their entertainment habits. Quick, off the top of your heads, if you were to guess, who watches more television, men or women, where would you go?
I would have
Do
to
we have
think
to?
it's a split, but vastly different
Yes.
likes between the two. I think
Well,
Do we
yeah, we're not
consider-
talking
do we-
the content.
content.
Do we consider video games television? I
No,
mean,
no, just
if-
watching
Oh,
TV.
just
Watching, like,
watching
shows?
TV.
Oh.
I would say it's women.
Really?
Yeah.
You
I
think
would say-
women watch more TV than men?
I do. Yeah. During the day.
Well, maybe so. Well, that's very...
Back in the
Well, that's very sexist.
yeah,
During the day.
wow,
eating bonbons in their house.
That's right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
28-19, man.
Well, okay.
In between washing dishes and changing diapers,
Yeah.
Okay, what's your vote? What's your vote? Men or women, Doug? Who
I
watches
would
more?
say it's a split.
It's a split. Kyle said women.
I said women.
Ruben?
I'd say men by a bit.
Men by a bit. All right, this is from the UK because this is unscripted.
Oh.
In the UK, and we can just dismiss that because
It's in the UK.
it's
Okay.
in the UK.
I mean, come on.
Women watch an average daily television allotment of 4 hours and 42 minutes.
Okay.
Now think about that.
A
At the
day,
end
a
of your
lot.
life, what does that pile up to? If that's 5 days a week, someone's going to do the math.
I'm doing it.
It's,
Okay.
Doug's got
it's
the
8,000 hours a year. No,
Let's see. So
You did
four
that in
times,
your-
4 times
2,000 hours a year.
365.
7 days a week.
4.75
75. Oh, 109,000 hours.
of television in a year.
Right.
Okay.
Divided.
No, that's
No.
not right.
That's not-
109,000.
No, it's like 2,000 hours
No.
a year.
In your lifetime.
You'd have
Yeah,
to watch.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
for your number to work for a year, you'd have to watch 3,000 hours a day.
No. This is lifetime. Lifetime. I'm assuming a
is possible.
75-year lifespan.
Okay, so 3,000 in Doug's world, people watch television 3,000 hours a day.
No. 1,460 hours.
1,460 hours in a year. Imagine that. That's how many
60,
work weeks.
60 days.
Wow, it's 2 months of work that you could have accomplished. Could have
Something
got-
productive.
Yeah. All right. What was your vote?
Women.
You were women.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 hours 42 minutes.
What are the men?
Oh.
The men are 3 hours 35 minutes. The
Oh.
winner is Kyle Warren.
The women by a bit.
That's
Women
in the UK,
by an
though.
hour
Yeah, it's
and
in the UK.
7 minutes. Huh.
Interesting.
But they were split back in 2006.
Oh, well, see.
Yeah.
Depending
Oh.
on when it is, I could be a winner too.
Okay, but really, the stereotype is what? Men love TV more than women. Wouldn't you say that's the stereotype?
Yeah, I mean,
Certainly for
on-
sports.
on the weekends, yeah, they just
yeah,
sit there.
they just sit there and watch football all weekend long.
Yeah.
Who holds the remote control in your house?
What's a remote?
Yeah, there is no. We talk to the TV in our house.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, I don't even have a TV.
All right, Doug and I come from a different generation. We had no. I was the remote when I was a
Google.
boy.
That's right.
Generally, I run the remote, but my wife tells me what channels to turn to. No, that's not true. I generally hold the remote.
I hold the remote
Yeah.
too. Kyle?
No, we don't even have a TV. I'm serious about that.
Oh, you don't have a TV?
Nope.
What are you doing on this show? I kicked someone else out that had a
know.
valid opinion.
They probably had a TV in their home. I worked in the entertainment industry at one point.
Okay,
though.
we'll put you there.
Thank
we'll
you.
keep you.
Nice.
Who holds the remote in your house?
We watch so little TV, but
Everybody's
my
backpedaling
wife-
because there's a preacher in the house, and I'm going to condemn everybody by the end of the show.
Don't come to my house.
No, I would say, I make about 15% of the decisions as to what we watch when we watch as a family.
15?
What does your wife make though?
That wasn't a 5-0.
Does
That was a
your
1-5.
15-1-5.
Does your wife make the other, or is it like the kids make a large portion of the decisions?
Well,
You
Their
know,
kids are little.
the three other girls in the house, they
Oh,
own
yeah,
it. So I
yeah, that's true.
Oh, I
You're outnormal.
definitely
Yeah,
have the
I
remote.
just- I don't even try.
That's right.
Actually, the way it works in our house is Jean usually has the remote first.
Yeah.
And after I bark a few orders, she hands the remote over to me. It's like, no, go here, go there. Stop at that channel. Yeah.
Go. Stop.
Why do men love TV, do you think? Because we do. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And we are going to get, if you're a parent and you're concerned about where we're headed, don't worry. By the end of the show, we will come to the right conclusion. But we're going to be honest at the same time. I love TV. When I was in college, 40 decades ago, when I was in college and... 40 decades ago, they would hand out stone tablets and chisels on the first day of class. And
They have live actors in the TV sets. Then?
yeah, they had live actors. It was like the Flintstones. There was a live actor
right.
inside the
Yeah.
frame. No, when I went to college, I made a fine economic decision. I had $100 left to my name for books and rent and food.
And you bought a TV?
And I bought a TV. I bought a black and white TV. It was 13 inches, rabbit ears.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Had
tinfoil.
that TV.
Yeah, and tinfoil, and I could pull in 3 stations.
Right. And if you got your friend from down the hall to hold the arrow, you could get 4.
That's right.
Yeah.
I put it at the foot of my bed on the dresser,
Yeah.
and I discovered that MASH came on at
Oh.
9 p.m.
That was a good show.
It was, yeah, and then it came on again at 9:30, and then the news came on. The regional news came on at 10, and then the national news came on at 11. And I was a political science major / economics major,
Yeah.
which is a would you like fries with that degree?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what you better learn to say because that's what you're qualified for. So I had to watch the news, and then at midnight, Letterman was on. And in those days, he still had Velcro Man. Do you remember?
Yeah, jump off a mini tramp and stick to the Velcro
And you
wall.
stick to the wall.
I saw some of those clips.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
younger guys.
Well, didn't he have?
It sounded
Sounds
fun.
familiar.
Didn't he have
Yeah,
the,
right.
the
Did
man
sound
that lived under the riser as well?
Yes.
And Larry Bud Millman.
And Larry Bud Melman and Man on Fire. Do you remember Man on
I
Fire?
never saw Man on
Every
Fire.
night he would run a stuntman through the audience on fire. He'd be screaming, running around.
Oh.
And then when that got boring after about 3 weeks, he had one night of Man Not on Fire. So he came out and did exactly the same thing.
But he wasn't on fire.
So I had to stay up for that. I had
Yep.
to stay up and watch Man on Fire and David Letterman. And in those days, he would throw his cue cards over his shoulder, and you'd hear
Breaking glass.
Yeah,
That's right.
breaking
Yes.
glass. And then Bonanza came on at 1.
Never got into that.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I had to stay up. And I'd be like, there'd always be some girl falls in love with one of the Cartwright boys, and you'd be warning them through the TV screen, you will be dead by the end of the episode. Do not touch this family. And then
It's like a red shirt in Star Trek.
Yeah, that's right. And that guy's gone.
Oh, is that how that works?
I totally missed that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Bonanza was over at 2, 3 in the morning, something like that, and I had my first class at 7. Took an hour by bicycle to get to the college. I took an incomplete in symbolic logic too because
You spent 6 hours an evening watching television.
I did.
And getting no sleep.
And at the end of it, it's like, what did I learn? I learned how to run squatters off the Ponderosa. That's what I learned. And what a waste of, well, it was a whole semester. It was 4 months of my life out the window. What did I gain? I'm not against television. I know that people by the end, the preacher starts talking on television. So you want us to throw our TVs out. No. If you're going to throw your TV out, tell me where you threw it, because
You will pick it up.
I will pick it
That's
up.
right.
It's about balance and principle and so on. But guys like it, don't you think? Maybe it has
Absolutely.
something to do
I
with
love
the,
television.
Yeah.
It has something to do with the nothing box.
That's exactly
It's an
right.
escape.
Yeah.
It's
an escape.
It's an escape. You
That's
put you
it.
in an environment you might likely never get to.
Yeah.
That's
and
exactly
you get to
right.
kind of
You
fantasize
live
about
vicariously
living
through.
this
Yep.
this life that you can't have.
And today I'm sitting there watching YouTube with people doing that exact same thing.
That's
but
exactly right.
I know it's unscripted, but there's people sailing all over the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
We've been watching one recently,
Absolutely.
a couple, they're presently in the Bahamas, but they've been sailing the world for 4 years.
Yeah.
And
The
Shelley and
winds?
I've, La Vagabond is...
Sailing La Vagabond.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
So you're actually letting someone else live your life for
That's
you.
and that's what it is. It's
I guess
like
that's it, yeah.
Vicarious.
You live vicariously through them, and that is the most popular way of watching today.
Right.
For younger kids,
We
especially.
watch very little broadcast, your traditional
Right.
broadcast television, NBC, CBS, you mean the traditional broadcasters.
You
Most of
live
what
in
we do-
Canada. You can throw in the communist broadcast.
Well,
I mean, the CBC.
never watch CBC other than Hockey Night in Canada,
Hockey
which
Night.
they have the best coverage.
Yes.
But most of what we watch, almost everything we watch is streamed.
All right.
You know,
All right. So what we'll do is we're going to assume this over the course of our lifetimes so that we can look back at our youth and stuff. I see that we're going to come up against a break, and we've weighed in on television. We're going to weigh in on other forms of entertainment, but then I want to start talking about, we're all family men around the table. What impact does that have on children and the home and on relationships? It's kind of sad that one of the number one shows in the 90s and the noughts was Friends, and people who have no real friends in life have nothing but TV friends. They're addicted to a show called Friends, and they don't actually have a real life. We'll talk about some of those things when we come back from the break. I expect the music to start rolling here any second. I see Joe reaching for the dials, and is it playing? It's playing, and I can't hear it. All right. So we're going to take a little break. It's the surprise bullpen, men and entertainment. No girls allowed. We've pulled up the ladder and hung out the sign, no girls allowed, on our treehouse. We'll be right back.
Are you searching for answers to life's toughest questions like, where is God when we suffer? Can I find real happiness? Or is there any hope for our chaotic world? The Discover Bible Guides will help you find the answers you're looking for. Visit us at BibleStudies.com or give us a call at 888-456-7933 for your free Discover Bible Guides. Study online on our secure website or have the free guides mailed right to your home. There is never a cost or obligation. The Discover Bible Guides are our free gift to you. Find answers in guides like, Does My Life Really Matter to God? And A Second Chance at Life. You'll find answers to the things that matter most to you in each of the 26 Discover Bible Guides. Visit BibleStudies.com and begin your journey today to discover answers to life's deepest questions.
And we are back from the break. An unscripted, unplanned bullpen, a surprise bullpen. And in studio today, Doug, Kyle, Ruben, and yours truly, Shawn Boonstra, your host for the next, I guess, 39 minutes or whatever's left.
The last word, apparently.
Yeah, and I get the last word. It is my show. And we do have to come around to Bible principles. It is a Christian show and so on. Let's be honest about this, though. I mean, we were talking about television, and it's branched out into streaming and all sorts of things. And let's just set out at least this moral principle. On average, and we're talking the entertainment industry as a whole, on average, does Hollywood appeal to our higher or lower nature? That's the question that I've had over the years. Does it appeal? How do they sell what they're selling?
Is there a question? Is that a real question?
That's a real question. I just want Christians to be honest about it.
Absolutely, not our higher brain functions for sure. It's raw emotion.
Which 60 seconds show up in the trailer?
The explosions, the car chases,
and the naked
and
women.
the sex.
Yeah, absolutely, because it sells.
Yeah, and
that's what they would say.
And the other question I've asked people, has it gotten better or worse over the years?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, the Hays Code of 1929 forbid glorification of crime, forbid even showing a crime.
Right.
And I think it's gotten worse. And I was joking earlier. You telling us to throw away our TVs? No, I'll go get your TV. And during the break, Doug, you said something really important. It's not the medium that's the issue. Mm-hmm. And fill us in on that, because you were talking about theaters and the way Christians were, say, back in the 40s and 50s.
Well, and the 60s and 70s when I was a young boy myself. It seems amazing it was that long ago. But when we were young, the theater was taboo. You did not go to the theater.
Right.
And if you wanted to see a movie, there were some hand-picked ones that were shown in a gymnasium at your school or whatever, and they were generally Sound of Music type, which, by the way, is one of my favorite films.
You love musicals. Is that why you're wearing a dress in the studio
That's why I'm
today?
wering a dress, yeah.
All right, no.
So what happened?
Full disclosure, I love Oklahoma, and I love the Sound of Music.
Okay, so but back,
I saw Amanda in the control booth cheer for. Do you like Oklahoma?
Oh, great.
Oh, wow. Carriage with a Fringe on Top, or what's the other song? Oh, no, I know what my favorite song is. Never mind.
So when we were back there, it was all about the theater, and you don't go to the theater. No one ever addressed the content. Well, lo and behold, the late 70s shows up, and now we have VCRs. And all these
You had
movies,
a VCR in the late 70s?
Probably not till the 80s.
I didn't own one until like almost 2000.
Oh.
I think. No, I got one the year I got married. I got one.
They were
93.
they were almost obsolete by then.
Yeah, they were.
But so all of a sudden you have this ability to show all of this entertainment that's been produced for years.
Right.
And now it's available in your own house. So since the principles of what is appropriate to view were never discussed. It was just, they always took the easy way out and said, well, just don't go to the theater. But no one ever actually discussed the principles of what's moral and what's not moral.
Yep.
And so now it's available in your house. Well, it's in my house, it's fine. So all of a sudden you have everybody I know is watching everything they never could watch because, hey, now it's in your house.
Yeah.
Right.
And no one seemed to resist this. And I think this has been a real challenge for Christians because they've kind of forgot about doing the moral tests on what you're watching.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. And maybe we didn't do I've heard those stories too, and I had a bit of a wild youth, and so I probably wasn't as subjected to, you can't go down there to the theater. But these stories of like your guardian angel will have to stand outside on the sidewalk wringing his hands in anguish because you went inside to watch that. And again, it's not the medium. For crying out sideways, I did a TV show for years. Doug, you and I worked in TV together years ago. I had a TV show. If TV's the sin, what was I doing on TV as a preacher?
Right.
It's not the medium, it's the content. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we aren't raising our kids with the why.
Yes,
absolutely.
Amen.
Why don't we watch this? Why don't we watch this? And I probably have erred. Do not take my word because I'm a minister, parents. You know your kids. Right. Do not use this as a guide for your family. I have people call me, what should I do with my kids? I say, I don't know. But for example, there have been occasions where my kids really wanted to watch something. So I assessed it. All right, it's not just vulgar. It's not just, do I like the content of this particular film? No, but it's not sex. It's not graphic violence. It's a philosophical difference with my worldview that I don't appreciate. And I can say no to my kids all day long. And the minute they're 18 and leave home, they're wondering, why no? What's out there? And click.
And they go hog wild.
Yeah, and now I'm not there.
Yep.
Exactly.
So what I chose to do on occasion, and this is not a formula for every family, but what I've done on occasion is, okay, I don't agree with the philosophical worldview of this film. There's nothing there that's going to trash, because anything you watch goes in your brain forever. There's nothing there in that nature for my kids. So I would sit down and say, okay, we're going to watch it. And at the end, what I would like from you is you tell me what's different in that story from the way we view the world. Right. So now they're watching with an eye. They're trying to figure out why is this different, and they're going to have to tell Dad at the end. And what I'm hoping I'm teaching is discernment.
Yeah.
Right.
So that when you get out in the world, you're making good decisions about what you put in your brain and what you don't.
Exactly. Critical thinking. You nailed it.
Yeah. Oh, is that the end of the show then?
Yeah, that's it.
Roll music, Joel.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You guys have little kids. You guys, your kids are younger there on that end of the table, and yours are the oldest kids.
Right.
You've got
26 and 24.
Wow.
Your kids are old enough
When I
to
met
be in
you, they
here.
were toddlers.
They were.
Yeah. When I met you, you were a toddler. And
Almost.
yeah. I think you and I
Except I'm
probably
older than
still,
you, so
but
what
you
were
and I
you?
still kind of fit in the toddler category in some aspects of life easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, younger kids, what's going on? Because for my kids, it was still just barely, but still television, But
I think the content, you're talking about the content is one thing, but the medium of how this is coming is also interesting to talk about, because when you bring that television into your home, when my kids sit in front of a TV, it's like the lights go off.
Yep.
Almost instant, and their mouths hang open, and
for
they're just gaping, and they're just like, know, and whatever is being piped through that TV is just going directly into their little brain and just being hammered right in there, whatever it is. So, saying, there's been lots of studies too that, basically your brain goes into an alpha pattern or something. You're absolutely more suggestible. You take the suggestions a lot easier. That's why commercials work. Yeah, we know that stuff works.
Right.
Advertising works.
Right. It's interesting you say that, as Christians say all the time, it doesn't really affect you.
Oh, absolutely.
And yet the people spending millions to pay for those commercials know
they know
full
it
well
works.
it affects you.
There's very
Absolutely.
much a scientific explanation, as to why TV and screens in general feels great. I mean, it produces stuff in your brain that, make you feel good, and think about the dopamine. It's just that's what happens in your brain. I mean, my kids, you turn it on, and just like you say, whether it's a traditional television screen or a computer or whatever, or a phone, it's like, man, instant addiction. It's just stuck, right? And they turn into somebody else if you're not careful. I mean, no, I don't want you, and it's like, dude, hello. And so you're going to tell me that doesn't have an effect. And so science has actually proven that. So just let's not even argue about that anymore. It very much has a physical effect on your brain. And so what you're watching matters. These days, it's so much easier to consume good and bad content, right? Mm-hmm. With YouTube, with Facebook, whatever the case is. I mean, my kids love watching YouTube, man. And I've got to be there, and we've got to.
Well, there's no contrling what comes next in the queue.
There's no controlling. Yep, you don't know what's coming out of there. I like watching YouTube. Let me not lie about
quite
that.
a bit, actually.
Yeah. There's lots of good stuff out there, but man, you just got to be careful.
Well, the one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is the way it desensitizes you.
Yeah.
It does do that.
I don't know where I heard this story, but it was an article I read somewhere. I can't for the life of me remember where it was, but they took some, I believe it was Amish individuals who've lived in an isolated community, had no exposure to media.
That doesn't look all bad, though, does it?
No.
The Amish communities, like, as I get old and cranky, I'm thinking that looks nice.
Yeah. So these people have lived in a what, from a worldly perspective, could be called a moral environment. Right, they have values.
They're still
good
sinners.
family values.
They still have their
absolutely.
issues.
Yeah. But they're not exposed to the general filth that the world produces. Yeah. They expose some of these individuals to your typical crime television show, which we consider to be just like doesn't matter. I mean, you watch it, doesn't affect you at all. Yeah. They became violently ill at the sight of a murder. Which is what all of us
should still have their visceral
which is what all of us should be violently ill when we see someone being brutally murdered. But we watch it and it's entertainment.
Yeah.
And so the whole desensitization thing now, to me, it's very worrisome. What is it doing to our ability to to discern right from wrong, to, I don't know. I found the study very interesting.
You've triggered a memory for me. I remember as early 70s, I'm watching TV, and it's some detective show. I don't know if it was Columbo, whatever it was, and there's these two thugs, and they've got a guy, and they're on like the 4th story of a hotel, and they've got him by the railing, and he's saying, no, 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 and they threw him off the railing. I didn't sleep that night as a little kid. I was like, they just killed a man.
Wow.
Yep.
I doubt very much that scene would cause me any sleeplessness now.
No.
But how many of those did I watch between 1972 and now?
Right, and you've seen them 100 times, and they don't surprise you anymore.
Yeah.
Well, is desensitization a problem? I think it is.
I think it is. Yeah. Because what happens is now when reality hits and something tragic happens,
Yeah, really.
we as Christians should react to that as being unacceptable, and perhaps even if we can intervene in some way, right? To help keep that from happening again. Now it's just something that we've seen on video or film 100 times, and we just don't even react. We don't have a normal reaction
because
to it.
we know that, what was on TV, that's not really real. But deep down in your brain, you're blunting, that part of
The
your
reaction.
brain that
Just-
should react
That's
to,
right.
to that.
I mean, just look at TV, from, even 20 years ago, and compare it to TV today,
Oh, man.
And again, I like TV. I like watching certain shows. I'm not saying
He was very careful.
Yeah.
I like watching
Okay,
certain
name
shows.
them, Ruben.
Yeah, I know.
That's okay. The parables all start with, there was a certain man.
And he went away sorrowful.
What shows are you watching, Ruben?
You know what?
I like watching certain shows.
I like watching certain shows.
Yeah.
But
Your wife's going to be talking to you when you get in tonight. What shows are you watching?
I got a couple of couches at home.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
we stepped
so-
on your point.
So my point is though, to your point, Doug. I mean, think about what desensitization does. I mean, look, what entertained us before doesn't entertain us before. We think it's boring, right? So we need more. We need more, and
Always
we need
more.
more. We always need more, right? And so the standard that line moves, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So
It's like the superhero movies now.
Yeah.
I don't like them anymore. When they first came
Yeah,
out, I
neither do
thought,
I.
well, they were okay.
Yeah.
But now that there's technology that allows you to create these unbelievable scenarios visually,
Yeah.
to me, it's like, what are you guys doing? This is so incredibly unrealistic. It's
Yeah.
like over the top. It's not even in the
Well, I
realm
find
of
it more
possibility.
real, like compared to the original Superman
no,
movie, the green
sure.
screen and the...
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I'm not
But it
saying
would
they
never
built
happen.
About the scenarios.
but some of the explosions, and I mean, I'm thinking of some movies where they had all these things flying around. That would never happen.
Yeah.
And to me, it gets boring.
All right,
Right.
I hear them.
I
I
hear
hear them
music.
tune up the music.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Sure.
I want
It's
to. I'm
in
gonna.
my point.
Bring something up because you mentioned desensitization.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
That's my last word right there. That the last one I've ever been able to pronounce. I'm going to bring something up in a little bit because what's the end game? How far will it go? Does society flip eventually, and so on?
Yeah.
We're going to take a little break. I want you to take advantage of these offers from the good people at the Voice of Prophecy. You have an opportunity to study the Bible and know it for yourself. We'll be right back.
Disclosure is just one of the programs brought to you by the Voice of Prophecy, like the audio adventure program Discovery Mountain. Discovery Mountain is a weekly Bible-based program for kids of all ages and backgrounds. Your family will enjoy faith-building stories with Jake Donovan, Mr. Simon, and others in this small mountain town. Each summer, campers visit Discovery Mountain, where they sing songs, learn about God, and reenact a Bible story with the help of drama teachers Miss Wendy and Miss Tamara. With 24 full episodes every year and programming every week, your family will have something uplifting to listen to every week. Listen to episodes on demand and watch video features from Director Doug at discoverymountain.com or on your favorite podcast platform. That's discoverymountain.com.
I have got to say that I am really glad that break is over, because the conversation in the break went way off base. Some of you were complaining about not having seat warmers in your cars. This is supposed to be a show for men.
Listen, I'm Canadian. You need seat warmers.
Oh my! Did you have seat warmers when you were a little kid?
No.
No. And who had the ingenious solution in the break?
For seat warmers?
Yeah. You take
I
those
think
things
that
that
was
you put in your
Joel.
mittens. What are those
Hot shots.
Hot shots, those chemical
Right,
thing
you sit
packs you
on-
put, and
yeah.
you just put them under
Put them in your pockets.
Good job, good job, Joel.
Yeah, you don't want to have a cold bottom in the morning. I mean, no man needs a cold bottom. And I bet you guys all lotion too.
No.
You do.
No.
Doug lotions his hands. I did the other day. I was someplace that was really cold and dry, and one day when I was coming through immigration, when I was still a non-American, you have to put your fingers. You still have to do that, right? Put your fingers in.
No, they
gather. They don't gather your fingerprint on the way in. Probably because I was a green card holder. They're keeping track of when I come and go, and the thing wouldn't read. And the guy's like, "Dude, you need to start lotioning." It would not read my fingers. And we're talking about men in entertainment, and I don't know why we need TV, because when the mics went off during the break, we provided plenty of our own.
We were quite entertained.
Yeah. We need to do a show sometime on, like, why do men destroy each other for entertainment and they love it?
But it's funny.
I know.
Yeah, it's like,
Actually, your next show should be what happens in between segments.
what happens in between
Just hear
segments?
that stuff.
Well, I think there would be a show. I don't want to use the popular expression, but we do bust each other's chops.
Chops.
Yeah.
Yes,
And-
I was going there.
you don't feel accepted by a group of men until they have destroyed you.
Well, I've always said,
this
unless
is
I'm
true.
insulting you, I don't like
Or at
you.
least tried.
Yeah. No, it's
Bring
like,
a friend.
no, men don't feel accepted until somebody humiliates them. And now I'm in.
It's true.
I know. My wife doesn't understand it at all. Why do you guys why is he not crying? He's laughing because he's been accepted.
That's right. And it's funny.
Hazing is part
To
of
a point.
Yeah, we should do a
another
show
show.
on
Yeah,
this.
this is
true. Hazing is
This
to a
is true.
point. It's true. No, but hazing, basically, it's an old ritual. Barbarians did it to weed out the weak guy before you got out on the battlefield and found out he couldn't take it.
Right.
Anyway, we're talking about men in entertainment, not hazing. And we had talked about the fact of desensitization. I was looking at this old Philip Myers quote. He did a history on the Roman Empire. And what did I do with the quote? Did I lose it in the meantime? I probably did. He was talking about the fact that, here it is. Philip Meyer, almost from the beginning, the Roman stage was gross. So here's another great empire that came and went. That empire lasted in the East until the 1400s. But almost from the beginning, the Roman stage was gross, and immorality is one of the main agencies to which must be attributed the undermining of the originally sound moral life of Roman society. So absorbed did the people become in the indecent representations of the stage that they lost all thought and care of the affairs of real life. So in other words, I don't know which way it would go. Did the entertainment cause the decline of morality, or did the decline of morality cause the decline in entertainment values? I do know this, that at one point, if they were staging plays in the Roman Empire and it called for a death scene, they would go and get a prisoner and kill him on stage because that's the most realistic thing. And we always say, well, what a bunch of barbarians. But how far off are we if we didn't have a special effects department, if we didn't have CGI? How long until we're tempted to do something similar? He's dying anyway. Let's just do it on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
It got quiet.
That's pretty rough, man.
Sean throws the heavy question on the table.
History's full of examples of how far we're willing to go, and those examples are not that far in our history. I mean, think about just.
Well,
And
go ahead.
you could really make a case right now that Rome, we are just pulling that empire down with us, because we're doing the exact same
thing.
stuff. They had bread in circuses, and we've got entertainment, we've got a welfare state. All those things were going on during that time, and you can look at the decline of the Roman Empire. And anyways, that's not where we're going with this, but
But you should be able to learn from history.
Exactly.
You should.
Yeah.
Exactly.
History
You should.
repeats itself,
Right.
right? And it's being
Over
repeated, I
and
think, in
over.
most of society.
There's a natural weakness that
Never
men
fails.
have. We are, for better or for worse, drawn to violence.
Yep.
We are drawn to violence. I think there is a natural God-given reason that we've got aggression coursing through our veins. I really do. I do believe that. Aggression is not necessarily violence, But that I've noticed, you come near harming my kids, I'm not in control of what happens next. Something rises up inside of me,
Really
and
quick.
I will stop the aggression against my family. I think there's probably a natural God-given use for that, particularly after the fall. But I also think the dark side cashes in on that.
Sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, one thing that I found very interesting about that quote, exact words escape me there, but they were so engrossed in it that they lost touch. And I think we kind of touched on this earlier, where you said, your kids watch something and they go catatonic almost. Yeah. Well, we get to the point where we watch this stuff and it becomes so important to us. You can hardly wait for that next episode. You can hardly wait, to see what happens next.
That's right.
That the real matters of life, accomplishing something or doing good or adding value becomes secondary to when can I see this next episode.
That's right.
And you lose all touch with reality.
Or when
Well, they build that stupid cliffhanger in the
Of course.
There are no self-contained episodes anymore.
No, they all have cliffhangers.
Well,
right?
yeah, because your brain is sitting there going, well, what's going to happen next? And, to go along with that, when am I going to get my next hit of dopamine?
Right.
Used to 100 years ago, you had to work for something. Now you play a video game for 10 minutes and bing, you're rewarded with something. And,
you get
Well, have you guys noticed? I don't binge a lot on series. I just don't have the time. There have been one or two I thought, I'm going to get into this. Now that, you can get the whole season all at once on a DVD,
Right.
or they'll just show the whole season all at once and people binge.
Or Netflix you binge on, right?
Yeah, and then at the end, you go into the show hole. It's like all your friends just died.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah. What do I do now?
And I
actually have
thought
to
about
live.
that. It's like, wait a minute. Why do I feel down?
Right.
They're actors.
Right.
None of that was real. I didn't actually lose any friends, but it feels like they all just died. There's no story tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you know what?
interesting.
And I see that as a negative, but there's value in stories.
Well, absolutely.
It's not
stories,
all
that's
bad.
not. No.
Right.
The Bible's full
Full
of
of
stories,
stories.
including fictitious stories to make a
Right.
point. That's not my point.
I realize, and I know exactly what you're saying, but there is kind of a positive side to media. I mean, stories are not necessarily a bad thing.
No, Jesus was a storyteller.
Absolutely. And so we're more focusing on the negative side of things. But when you mention story, you kind of feel let down a bit. And I know where you're going with that, and I agree with you 100%. But just to have good entertainment that has good moral values and has an entertaining story is not a bad thing. Right?
No, I would argue no. There's nothing wrong with entertainment. Is there an excess in entertainment?
Absolutely.
Does there come a
That's the
point
issue.
where you step out of?
Yeah.
I mean, we're required to. Well, what does the Bible say? Occupy till God comes. Is
Right.
entertaining yourself 4 hours a day occupying? Is there
Probably
something
not.
wrong with crashing for an hour once in a while and saying, you know what?
I just like to hear.
I
see
just
a
want
nice
to turn my
story.
brain off for a minute.
Yeah.
The problem, I think, I forget what your calculation was. How many hours in a year? It came to 60 days of
60
entertainment.
days, yeah.
There's something out of whack.
there's
If
something
you're going
immoral
2
with that.
months, 1/6 of your time is entertainment.
Yep.
I'm thinking of Neil Postman's book years ago. I think it was Neil Postman, Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we lose track of what's real. I mean, and it's spilled into social media. The social media crowd is the most depressed crowd in history. They have all these online friends, but not a single real friend that they hang out with and do things with.
Right.
No one who's really got their back. We have other people play sports for us. We want let other people live our lives vicariously on a screen. And I wonder, at the end of the day, if you were to do an assessment of how much of your, what do you got, 70, 80 years to live. And that number's still fairly accurate. A lot of people making it into their 80s. But let's say you got 8 decades to live. And how much of that was wasted? This one precious gift of God that you've got is this one lifetime. How much of it did you spend amusing yourself?
Right. Accomplishing nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not that you should accomplish. The other side of that is workaholism, which men are also addicted to. And there's nothing wrong with, and that's where really my problem is. I don't amuse myself to death. I'm probably working myself to death, and I never take time where I go, let's just crash. But how much of your life? 1/6? If that's 1/6 of your year watching television, 1/6 of your life over 80 years is what, 12, 13 years of your life?
I just did calculations on 75 years for the 4.75 hours. You
Yeah.
said the average.
Well, that was the
UK
women.
Female,
That was the women, yeah.
UK woman. So that's 14.84 years of your life if you live to 75.
14 years.
Can you imagine how many degrees could you accomplish? I mean, how many university degrees could you do in 14
What's it take?
years?
5,000
How many
hours to
adventures could
become.
you have?
It takes 5,000
Real
hours to
adventures.
become considered an expert in something.
Right.
5,000 hours, is it 10,000? I can't remember.
It's 10,000.
It's 10,000. Okay,
Yeah,
10,000
10,000.
hours. In 14 years of television, you're right. You could have become... One of my biggest laments is, I think it says in the book of Ecclesiastes at the beginning, the eye is never full, the ear is never full of hearing.
Right.
And my biggest lament is, especially now that I have rounded the top of the hill and I'm on Doug's side of
Thank
the
you.
hill. Yeah.
It's a good view over here.
Yeah, and you move faster going
Yeah.
downhill. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. But as I'm going down the backside of the hill, I'm honest about it. I don't have half my life left. I've got a third to a quarter. That's
Right.
what's left.
Yep.
That's what's left of my life. I could waste the entire thing entertaining myself. And in the meantime, I have complained that there's not enough time in life to do everything I wanted to do. I'm running out of time.
Right.
I didn't have time to become a concert musician, and I didn't have time to become an expert in philosophy, and I didn't have time. Yes, you did. Yes,
Yes, you did.
You did.
Yeah, you know, going with that, I see, I'm just gonna from what I see is a lot of people don't have the aspiring goals, the big audacious goals that they used to have, because now it just seems like they're okay with the small things that they're just kind of whittling away. I'm okay just spending 6 hours a day playing video games, or I'm okay just watching the TV. And I think it's something bigger than is entertainment the problem. I think that there's
Lack of drive.
the drive,
It's true. It's
Yeah,
like
that's-
you listen to some of the discussions, especially some younger people I talk with, and everything they're talking about is social media based or entertainment based. So they're talking about shows, they're talking about music artists, they're talking about media in general, and that seems to occupy their time. They're not talking about noble concepts like I would like to do this, or I would like to do that, or hey, this would be a good idea, and we could really improve things. No, they're talking about the latest episode of XYZ or Z. Sorry,
Z. You are in America
I
now.
said, sorry. The latest musician and what he's tweeting. Who cares?
Go back in
Right?
history 100 and some years and look at whose kids' heroes were. It was Lindbergh. He flew across the ocean.
Accomplished
It's
something.
Einstein. He discovered relativity. It's Marie Curie. She discovered. And you shift 100 years into the future. What are our heroes? They dribble a ball and they act out a story.
Right, and they
And,
sing
hey,
questionable music.
Yeah, if you sing and act for a living, fine. I'm not dissing that.
No.
But you should not be what we strive for. You should not be our cultural hero.
No,
it's entertainment.
We should strive to be engineers and physicians and scientists and
Machinists.
and people who have the ability to affect positive change or contribute something of value. Healthcare workers
Or take care of yourself. How many people
Right.
can plant a garden and can the produce?
We do.
Yeah, I know you do. I can plant the garden. I don't know if I can.
We do both.
I eat what I can, and what I can't, I can.
Okay, I got to unpack.
Yeah, no,
that
you've
one.
you've got a break coming up that you
figure
can
that
think
one
that
out.
one through. Just don't try it in a different tense. They ate what they could, but what they couldn't, they could. It doesn't work.
Eat. Okay.
All right, we got to take a break. You're going to write this down because we do have a great way for you to spend your time. Instead of entertaining yourself, you could fill your heart and mind with the Word of God. Listen to this offer from the good people at the Voice of Prophecy.
Are you searching for answers to life's toughest questions? Like, where is God when we suffer? Can I find real happiness? Or is there any hope for our chaotic world? The Discover Bible Guides will help you find the answers that you're looking for. Visit us at BibleStudies.com or give us a call at 888-456-7933 for your free Discover Bible Guides. Study online on our secure website or have the free guides mailed right to your home. There is never a cost or obligation. The Discover Bible Guides are our free gift to you. Find answers in guides like Does My Life Really Matter to God? And A Second Chance at Life. You'll find answers to the things that matter the most to you. Visit BibleStudies.com and begin your journey today to discover answers to life's deepest questions.
We were busy talking about something else in the break, and then I heard the music start, and they were waving and pointing, and it's like, you guys, you're supposed to be doing a radio show. So we are back from the break. It's the final segment of our surprise Bullpen episode, Men in Entertainment. And we've gone all over the map, but I'm really appreciative of some of the insights you guys have brought to the table. I know that years ago, I had an original, well, okay, I'll go back further than that. I had an original ColecoVision and Atari. Remember Pong, Doug? These other guys won't remember Pong. It would actually burn a picture into your TV of the score and the paddles and the,
just going back and forth.
Because you had a cathode ray black and white TV.
So much fun.
Well, apparently that game's kind of hip now with the games.
Oh, it's come back.
With the gamers, right? It's come back. And they're playing
Really?
Pong.
Yeah.
Pong.
Okay, all right.
Really?
Pong, yeah. Then I had an original Nintendo. I went out and got one with Duck Hunt. Remember Duck
Oh,
Hunt?
yeah.
Love Duck
The
Hunt.
orange
that was so
pistol, and you'd
taboo.
shoot the duck. And is that's probably not allowed anymore.
In my house, it was.
You can't. Oh, you weren't allowed to have the gun attached to your Nintendo.
We weren't allowed.
Oh, well,
Period.
anyway, but it's gone way past that. I remember I would play that. I don't know, maybe 20 minutes a week. That's amusing. Let's shoot a few ducks and I know those of you out there who love ducks, they were virtual ducks. They were virtual ducks. And if you have a complaint about me ever owning Duck Hunt way back in the ancient past, write your complaint letters to Doug Bruce, Box 999, Loveland, Colorado.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tweet it out.
But video games are a whole different world now than they were back then. I remember we used to go down. Remember plunking your quarter on a machine because you're the next in line?
I'm next.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm next. It's different. Now it's there, and for, I don't know what they're worth. What's an Xbox worth? $300-$400?
About $250.
An original one or what? The new one?
I don't know.
The new one,
I don't-
Xbox One.
I don't know because I don't
no idea.
have
I
an
don't
Xbox.
have one
I
either.
don't have
All right,
it.
but
It's
you were
250
during the break.
bucks.
You were talking about Xbox, and you were talking about some of the things that you think are happening to young men in particular because of what's available in entertainment.
Yeah, I was reading an article titled something along the lines of the male mind and entertainment, something like that, and it got into, the jobs that men are holding now and what they do when they go home. And when they go home, they get on their video games. They're playing any number of different video games because they're getting fulfillment out of these things. And so what's happening is you're getting a lot of people that are getting stuck in base level jobs that teenagers used to do. Now people that are in their 30s are doing, and they're literally stuck. They can't see a way out. They have useless degrees. They don't have the skills.
I might have one of those.
Yeah, I motioned towards you. You should feel bad. No, but they're at the end of the day, they don't have anything to show for their life. And when you're a teenager, when you're in your early 20s, it's like, okay, that's kind of, and you're in your 30s, it's like, okay, society needs more from you than going home and playing video games. We need you to procreate. We need you to I mean, as a society,
that's right.
we need you to be.
This is a men's show. You got everybody's attention right there.
Yeah, exactly.
We all woke up.
and you're not able to do those things when you're sitting at home, playing Xbox in your mom's basement.
No, it's true. As a matter of fact, never mind. I was going to say that's a lot less likely to happen ever.
You mentioned procreate, but just expand that to marriage.
Yep.
Video games have a devastating effect on a number of marriages.
Oh, I've had
where
friends
people
that
are
got-
so
I had
addicted.
never even thought of that.
Oh no,
I have a personal experience. A couple I know where the guy comes home from work, gets on the video game at 6 p.m. and plays till 3 a.m.
Yep.
Does not talk to his wife. Does not interact with his wife. Goes to sleep. Gets up. Goes to work. Come home.
And that's probably a more male. We tend to check
Absolutely.
out so that we don't have to deal with things.
No,
Right.
you can totally
We zone
escape.
out.
Totally
That's a
escape.
total male
Escape.
problem.
Yeah.
and it's very
Yeah.
I used to work for a video game company. No one's sitting around the table discussing, okay, how do we make them stop after 30 minutes?
No.
No, it's how do we keep them going?
How do we keep them going? What's that
You know-
that next reward we're gonna give to you guys?
Some of the most popular games these days, been doing a little bit of Googling on this, are open world games that you allow, you can pretty much live life,
It's a literal alternate reality.
Through an alternate reality.
Wow.
I mean, and they're really cool, some of these games. I mean, the level of detail is pretty amazing. There are streaming platforms. People stream their games, right, live, and they make a killing. One of the top earners makes about $20,000 a month just on advertising. For his sitting there playing games.
And
That's
people
how much
watch
people watch him play.
Yeah.
Because he's an
What?
expert at
Instead
that.
of just
No, wait a
playing
minute,
the
wait a
game.
minute.
Oh,
No,
absolutely.
seriously. Seriously.
People watch other people play.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
Oh, civilization's
There's a platform
finished.
called Twitch.
This
and
is
it's,
over.
This is
Oh, they watch
Yeah.
a guy playing
They
whatever.
watch-
Last one out, turn off the lights.
so this is what I'm doing when I go home
That
today.
is so sad. Are you guys are kidding me?
and you're
No,
not even
really. No,
playing
it's
the
real.
game.
You
You're not even
watch
playing, you're
other,
watching
you're not
somebody
even
play.
playing. You're
You're
watching
watching
someone else
somebody
play.
play the game.
as a dad who
It's
who
finished.
loves Minecraft.
It's over.
And who loves the idea of Minecraft. I have to say, my kids have been the kids who are making these other kids money by watching other kids play Minecraft on YouTube. Wow. So I finally got Minecraft, and I'm like, "You're playing Minecraft? You know, it's no. You sit there and watch somebody play all day when you could be playing yourself,
Right.
out, outside
I think
or whatever.
at
it is.
least with
You know,
Minecraft, they have to learn spatial concepts
Absolutely.
and construction and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, I suppose.
But yeah.
Well,
$20,000 a month,
Slay
and that's
zombies.
$20,000 a month. On top of that, he gets $2,500 in donations, and then he gets sponsorships.
Wait a minute.
Donations.
How much does he make a month playing Minecraft?
Well, it's not just Minecraft, but it's $20,000 a month. It's,
Okay,
There you go,
forget
yeah,
everything
Sean.
we've said for the last hour on this program. I am
can-
going to become a video game addict. I mean,
Right.
I preach, and I don't make $20,000 a year. Sounds all right to me.
10,000 people viewing his stream at any given moment, 4 million per month, 800,000 followers on Twitch alone.
Okay,
Plus
so
he
no,
has
here's
sponsorship
4
deals.
million people
Really.
every month
We're watching
that
nothing
can't
happen.
think of anything better to do with their lives than watch someone else play a video game.
Yeah.
Watch someone else play
Yeah,
something
really.
that doesn't actually exist.
It's really hard to make me feel appalled, but I'm utterly appalled. What chance does this kid have? That's not a marketable skill.
No.
When you get out into the marketplace, I hear
Well, he's got
I
so
hear
much
younger
money now.
generations
No.
complaining, I can't find a job.
No,
I
really.
might know why. I might know why you can't find one.
I would argue that kid actually has a marketable skill because
he does.
he's
He
making
does.
a ton
no,
of
the
money.
kid. I'm talking about the kids
kids who are
watching.
watching.
No,
No,
the
no.
kids watching, yeah, they're in trouble,
Absolutely
man.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the kids who are watching.
No, my kid's
Seriously?
getting a YouTube channel.
The problem I have with video games in general is you're actually doing nothing.
Yeah.
No.
Nothing's
You're
And when
happening.
it, so
doing
you,
nothing.
you
And-
burn 15 hours, and what has
Right.
happened at the end? It doesn't even exist.
What was that
No,
movie
it's on a
several
chip.
years ago? Wall-E,
Tron?
where everybody's kind
Tron?
of...
Player one.
Oh, Tron.
I'm
where
older than
everybody's
you, it
kinda-
sounds like.
I don't know what Tron is.
You don't know what Tron
Well,
is?
I do, but I don't.
It was kind of the
It's,
first computer-generated movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Not only that, but they were in the computer, and now today we're seeing people
Well, this
like,
is
with
what-
the virtual reality,
Yeah.
and they are getting into it.
Well, I saw. Okay,
I-
here I'm going to give this. I'm going to give my video games this much. I saw a guy build a computer inside Minecraft because you can design circuits, and so he built a working. I don't know what it was, a 512K
or-
operating PC
really?
that
Yeah.
operates in a virtual platform.
Right.
That did take some thought.
Yeah, it takes some thought. So,
Sure, it took some
look,
time.
again, we're not saying throw everything out. I think it's pretty hard for Christians to defend putting their kids in front of the first-person shooter where the head explodes when you hit it and stuff like that. We're not saying throw everything out. I think if you shelter your kids so much they never see anything, the day they turn 18, they're gone.
What's interesting,
But-
when my
but
kids...
principle.
Oh, absolutely. When my kids were young, we had no video games. I
Yeah.
allowed my son to get a Game Boy he could use in the car or whatever.
Right.
Now he's 24.
To play Tetris.
Whatever it was, yeah. I forget what it was playing. But now he's 24. He's thanked me more than once for not allowing them to have any video games.
Well, what's he doing now?
Because
He's gone into engineering. Yeah.
And he works on his own car. We just send him outside. Go play, ride your bikes.
Yeah.
So he plays multiple sports. He goes camping. He goes scuba diving. He flies.
Learned how to do
he
things.
he learned how to do things, and he
Was
recognizes.
Dustin a pilot?
He's not licensed, but he's flown with me enough that he's actually a superb pilot.
Yeah, so he flies. He's
I'm
an
an
undocumented pilot.
I'm an instructor actually, so I can train him. He's just not done the formal.
Okay.
But he learned how to do things, and as a 24-year-old now, he's beginning to be able to recognize that through adult eyes, and saying, thanks, because a lot of his friends are just completely addicted to this stuff.
and have no marketable skills.
No.
And, let's return just for a second again to the morality because we're in the home stretch and I'm the preacher and I need to land it there. We were talking earlier about the fact that the modern media, whether we're talking about Netflix or video games, it pumps an awful lot of data into your brain very quickly. And that's in there forever. The frontal lobe is where you make moral judgments about things. But if the data's coming too fast, we've seen that you shut down your frontal lobe.
Just let
and
it
you
in.
just absorb.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, come on, doesn't affect me." Yeah, it does. I remember Pat Sajak years ago. He actually came out and said, "We say that the filth we produce in Hollywood doesn't affect people. That's nonsense, because every time you guys make an after-school special, you're all clapping each other on the back about what a difference you made in 30 minutes. Yeah. So give me a break. You know it affects the way we think." And there's a famous neurologist. Some of us have met him and known him, and he pointed out one time, he said, everything that goes into your brain is in there forever. If I'm in your brain prodding with my instruments and I hit the right spot, you'll see a memory from 30 years ago, and you'll see every detail down to what color everybody's wearing, the clock on the wall. And so he said, you got to think very carefully about what you're putting in the mental filing cabinet over the years. And I've thought about that, because what happens is, in a moral crisis, you kind of shut down. You don't think things rationally. Your adrenaline might be pumping. You're in a fight. You're in a confrontation with somebody on the sidewalk. What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this?
Instinct.
Right. You go instinct. Right. So what's in the filing cabinet? 18,000 episodes of what Jean-Claude Van Damme would do in that moment? No, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you jump to instinct, which is, it's another thing he pointed out. It's like your brain works on stuff when you're not thinking about it, and it taps into the data that's stored there. Which is why you were saying in one of the breaks, Kyle, that you often leave a problem aside and it suddenly comes to you at 2 a.m. because your subconscious didn't let go of it. Yeah. I think one of the big issues is, apart from all the wasted time, what data are you putting in your mind? Psalm 101, I will set no wicked thing before my eyes, because he's trying to keep a pure heart. And if you're wrestling with temptation all the time and dark thoughts, you might want to give some pause to, where did that come from?
Right.
It didn't get in there by itself. You put it in there, those dark thoughts. And so,
and
just
by beholding, you become changed.
That's another biblical principle. The more you take time to look at Jesus, the more you become like him. That is a biblical principle, and it works the other direction as well. You do. And as Doug, you were pointing out at the beginning, you get desensitized to sin. That's another reason,
it's acceptable.
Yeah, I don't drink because it lowers my inhibitions against sin. That's the real reason not to do it. That's
Absolutely.
Makes it easier to sin. I don't want to do anything that does that. So guarding the information that goes in makes good sense. And I hear men in particular saying, well, I don't have time to become a spiritual leader, and I don't have time you're a pastor, you've got all the time in the world. No, my life is just as busy as anybody else's. I pull a 90-hour work week most weeks. Yeah. There are choices you make. If you don't know who God is, or you don't feel you're close to God, you might want to assess how you're dividing up your weekly time.
Yep.
Amen.
There's a challenge. I don't know what the equivalent would be anymore. I guess maybe your Xbox controller, but in the old days, I used to tell people, do something for me for a week. Put your remote on top of your Bible. Just put it on top of your Bible. And see which one, or next to it, if you're of the school of thought that nothing should sit on top of a Bible. Yeah. But which one did you reach for most this week?
Yeah.
All these hours and wasted time, and then we complain, I can't find a job, and I don't know God, and I don't know, 1/6 of your life? I don't know, guys. We've got just seconds to go. I cleaned up the last few. I said it was my show. I get the last word. But thank you. I think for men, though, it's more we need to take a role in our kids' lives saying, you know what, there are better ways to grow your mind.
Absolutely.
I heard another evangelist one time say that basically the amount of time that he's going to spend eating, he spends in the Word of God. He doesn't do one without the other. So that he's able to get closer. Unfortunately,
I eat over the sink like a lot of men. Like a 2-minute. I tend to spend more time in my Bible than in. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in and confessing all of your sins on the Bullpen. And I'll be calling your cable companies to have you disconnected.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No, do appreciate it. And thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm Shawn Boonstra. You've been listening to the Bullpen episode of Disclosure. And thanks for listening. Visit voiceofprophecy.com as you're waiting for next week's episode.